Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the second series of the 2Ds in the Pod podcast. In this series, we'll be focusing on significant events of the day and our perspective on those events. Today, we begin with a review of Thomas Tuchel's World Cup selection.
Okay.
Hey, how are you?
Not too bad, Peter. Not too bad. You?
Not too bad.
Good.
Good to speak to you. So, the England World Cup squad's been announced.
Yeah, it has, hasn't it? A few
Some
surprises.
a few surprises, I guess. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts were on that squad. I mean, I think the goalkeepers spoke for themselves. Any thoughts on those?
To be honest, no. I think the goalkeepers are probably who I would have gone with. I mean, most of the last couple of England managers obviously have gone with Pickford, and that I don't know if there's a better English goalkeeper, to be honest. And the backups are always what they are. You know, very rarely get a game. But, I think they're okay. You got any strong thoughts on the goalkeeping situation?
No, my only other thought was I'm glad Trafford's in there because he's a young up-and-coming keeper, although he hasn't had the game time at Man City he probably expected because Donnarumma turned up there. I thought Pope might have a shout, but I think both Trafford and Henderson are better with their feet, and at international level you do need to probably be more confident with your feet. So yeah, I think those three keepers, they'd be the three I'd probably go with.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ramsdale is gone. He was a good keeper, and I was certainly one that when he was at Arsenal thought he was. I couldn't understand why they bought Raya because Ramsdale was okay, but now he seems to have suffered a little bit, and maybe that's being at somewhere with Southampton. He's had a couple of bad seasons, shall we say, and Trafford, as you say, certainly it's good he's in the squad because he should be the England number one within a couple of years. Right, defenders, that's always going to be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've got some reasonable defenders there.
That wraps up today's discussion.
For me, the players who were left out of that
were
Join us next time. I thought was very unlucky. He played pretty much every game for Man United this year. Never really let England down, although he was injured for a lot of the last tournament and has had an injury-ravaged career. Disappointed that Luke Shaw didn't make it. And Maguire, bit of a surprise that he didn't go, given his experience, and again another player who's had a good season.
Yeah, I think definitely for me, Maguire. I mean, I've never been a great lover of him. I think he's always got a mistake in him in that he's not that quick, but he is a threat, in the goalmouth, and he does put his body on the line, and he has actually managed to come through a difficult season, certainly at the beginning with Man U, and then at the end he's played quite well. So why Stones, for example, is there? That is more of a surprise for me because he hasn't played at all, really,
exactly.
at all. So I would have gone for the experience although Stones obviously is experienced, but he's hardly played, to be honest.
That's right. Isn't it? I mean, he's always done quite well for England in tournaments, but the way it's shaping up, I think he's looking at Stones and Gay here as his centre-halves, because Colwell at Chelsea, I know again he's been out for a lot of the season, only 23, but looking a very good player, but again he didn't make it. And Dan Burn and Esri Konsa have come in.
Dan Burn again, I don't know. I would have gone with Maguire over those guys, I think, personally, for the experience, for tournaments, for the threat, and he's had a pretty good end of season where I think some of the others haven't really done that much. Agui has done fantastically well, and I would have gone with him but maybe Tuchel's thinking was the partnership.
One of the things I detect from Tuchel's selections is he values loyalty and he values players around the squad. There's some other players we'll talk about a bit later on, but who haven't always been in his squads, and they seem to have fallen down the pecking order because they've either dropped out or they just weren't available, and he's gone with those players. So Byrne has always been there for him, and I think he likes that, and he likes that solidity about things. And also, he's very big on people around the dressing room, and I understand Dan Burn is a character around the dressing room, which might be another factor in his thinking.
Yeah, I think, left back and right back, there's always the Trent Alexander argument about, is he a defender, is he good enough? Again, in a squad, I think it's good to have somebody like that who could have that bit of quality at that particular time. As you say, Luke Shaw, is he as fast as he was? I don't know, but I'm not sure.
Gone with Jarell Quansah, who's obviously at Leverkusen. He struggled in the Liverpool to get in the Liverpool side the season before last, and for him to be in that team when players like Shaw and Maguire are left at home, it's a little surprising. But again, it might be what Tuchel sees behind the scenes. that we don't see, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
What about the fullbacks? Livramento and James.
James is a good because for me he's a utility player. He can play across the midfield as well,
Mhm.
and he's solid. He could be a solid midfielder and a solid fullback. So I like that. Some of the other guys haven't really set the world alight, but I mean, as I say, maybe Luke Shaw could have been left back, but he's been playing more often as a central defender. If you've got a good solid team and you've got a good solid midfield, I think you could have probably afforded to have Trent Alexander as a fullback on the right side, because I'm not sure there's much there, to be honest. I think it's an area of potential weakness for England.
Yeah, the one I do like is Nico O'Reilly from Man City.
Yeah.
As a young man, apparently he's a central midfield player.
Yeah.
Normally, but he's played very well at left back. He's a goal scoring threat. He's 6'4", so he could be a mainstay of that in that tournament.
Yeah. He, as you say, he's another good guy that he can play in 2 or 3 positions, and I think probably as a squad you need that.
I think so, because you never know what injuries are going to come your way,
and how they deal with the heat and the pressure and everything else that's going to be there.
So what very controversial, I think, in terms of the players who didn't go. I think what are your thoughts, Foden
and Cole Palmer? I mean, I do, having seen the Arsenal PSG game at the weekend, where Arsenal defended solidly, brilliantly for whatever it was, 85 minutes. But when you're defending for that long, you're going to have a mistake. You're going to make a mistake. It's just impossible to defend for that long. And obviously a penalty was given, and that's how the other team got. But there was not much going forward, and I feel England could be in the same situation. They could be defending for a lot of the game. And is there a player in that midfield who is creative, different enough? I think it's always been a problem with England squads for me, the flair player, if you like. Most of these games now are going to be 1-0. I mean, I'm not talking about in the sort of round 1 or whatever, but when they get to the end, it'll be 1-0, very rarely.
Very tight, yeah.
Very tight game. For 15-20 minutes, I know neither of them probably had fantastic seasons, but they are players who are different and could add something, and I think that's all that's missing. Declan Rice, fantastic season, fantastic player.
Yeah.
But again, has he got enough creativity?
That's right. I think that's right. I mean, you've got obviously Henderson and Mainu are in the squad, which again, I think I'm a fan of Adam Wharton actually at Palace as well. So to your point, I think having that creativity when you're 1-0 down, as inevitably England will be with 10 or 15 minutes to go, what are you going to look to on the bench to do? Shore up the midfield by bringing on a Mainu?
Or Henderson.
Henderson. It's not really. So whilst Palmer and Foden haven't had great seasons, they can bring you something. They're more of a natural 10. They can receive the ball in tight positions to their feet. Where Rodgers, for instance, has had a good season as a kind of a 10. He's not a 10 ball to feet in a tight space. He's a 10 who will feed off a centre forward who's got pace and strength. And I think that's where we will suffer. But again, I think that probably comes back with Wharton, Foden and Palmer a little bit, the way they've behaved around the camp and their availability, that maybe Tuchel is seeing things that he doesn't like. But I think that's a key area where we might struggle a little bit.
He could be that player.
It could be.
But again, I don't think he's that tight 1-2, short, sharp passes around the box. He's fantastic runner, got great vision, can strike the ball obviously, and not just at Arsenal, but he was great at Crystal Palace. But for me, it's if that player's got to defend, we've got to go over the top, and he's going to have to run onto it. And probably there'll be extra time if we nick a goal. I don't see anyone else who's the kind of ticky-tacky kind of player who could make something happen.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, I think what we have strength. I do like Anderson. He's played very well for England. Yeah, he's not probably had such a stellar season this year for Forest, but they've been struggling.
Yeah. And he's played a lot of games as well. And there's some young guys that, they've had his stage of his career is a bit kind of unsettling.
Must be.
Being asked to play differently, different styles, and
that's the thing. How many different styles has he been asked to play, and the fact he's always been picked every week.
Yes, by all of them. Yeah. So he's good. I agree with you about Wharton, and I thought he could have been good. I would have taken him rather than Henderson for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Henderson's going to add in. You can say about experience in camp, but how many leaders do you need in the dressing room?
That's the thing. I mean, he's 35. I mean, you could bring him as a coach. Do you need to bring him as a? I think because Bellingham is the other one who could be, in theory, the star of the tournament for England. He's at the perfect age. He's had a reasonable season with Madrid. They haven't won anything, and he could be the real leader for England. So long as Tuchel doesn't see him as a chop and change for Rodgers as the 10.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's where Tuchel has that issue that he's not sure who's his 10. And until he gets that kind of, this is my team, this is how it's going to be set up. You know, if it's two holding midfield players, then obviously then he's thinking, right, I might need Henderson because I might need another. I need a holding midfield player, or he uses Bellingham in that thing, which is. But I think with the squad, he could have gone with left Henderson at home and probably risked Palmer or Foden personally.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree. So first of all, those players who didn't make it to the World Cup, and players who were around the periphery, I think Solanke, Tammy Abraham, there's like Calvert-Lewin, didn't really.
I don't see any of them. I mean, you could say they are squad players, but I don't know. I don't see any of them. Certainly not. I would almost rather rely on Palmer or Foden as a second striker than those guys. You know, Watkins has had a great season, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, Harry Kane is obviously the one player who can score goals, but you know, he's actually playing better. I've seen him, you know, recently. He's playing deeper. He's coming forward. He's doing a lot more. He's not just that number 9.
Towards the end of the season, we're playing Nicholas Jackson as the out-and-out 9, and Kane was in as in the 10. But I think the team will be built around Kane as the fulcrum of the attack, and it's just what happens on that. I think Saka will be right-sided.
Definitely.
With Madueke as the backup, whether it's Gordon or Rashford on the left side. Rashford, I think, has been fortunate to be in the squad, but he's done well at times for Barca this season.
Yeah. It'd be interesting that those two are the left side, and they're the kind of, and Gordon's got the gig at Barcelona, and Rashford.
Well, that's right.
So that would be an interesting dressing room conversation. How it could be.
You're going to take my position.
Yeah, so I don't know. I've never. I mean, lots of people seem to have rated Gordon. Obviously, he's gone to Barcelona, and the talk was Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
I never saw that he was that quality, that level. But I don't know. Maybe.
Well, they must see something.
They must see something. Yeah.
I mean, he's very quick. I mean, he's one of the quickest players in the Premier.
Yeah.
He's an intelligent player for sure, but maybe in a stronger side, there's more opportunities. I mean, Newcastle have had a bit of a mixed season. I think they've finished 12th or so in the league, so maybe that's impacted him. But so maybe a fresh start at Barcelona will be always on the attack. Will always be looking to close that front. Yeah. Playing players like Lamine Yamal will obviously be very good for him. And then Ivan Toney. What was your thought?
Yeah, that's a strange one. I mean, I these players who play in those leagues, obviously money's a part of it. And how good is he? I don't know. What did he play in the last tournament? I mean, a couple of minutes. He took a penalty, and I think that was it.
He played for Al Ahly now, isn't he? And I think he's scored a stack of goals. I don't know whether it's 50 odd goals, and they're 3rd or 4th in the league. But what's the quality of that league? And I wonder why he was selected
over some of the others, in a tougher league, I do think that as a striker, goals, you know, are your bread and butter. Obviously, that's what gives you confidence. And if you're scoring goals, you think you can score at any level. And I think he's a confident player. I think he will want to get on. And I think Kane may well have issues. Maybe he'll be rested for some of the games. Certainly, if there's some dead rubbers in the in the groups stages where he doesn't need to play. If they're smart, I think he's direct and scores goals.
Yeah, so he might be seen as one replacement for Kane.
Yeah, I think so. I don't really see any of the other strikers who didn't go. I don't know if they did well enough, you know, to be honest. Because you've got to think now the Premier League is almost like all the quality of the defending now is so much better. The quality, the speed of it, everything else. And if you can't get more than 10 goals or whatever it is, you know, I don't know how well you're going to do. Obviously, at the group stage is fine, but when you get into the kind of deep into the competition, I don't know how well you're going to do against some of the better organised teams and better teams than it. Yeah.
And then, just quickly, then, what would your selection be? Your opening game selection?
I'd go with a strong team just to set. To give the players the confidence of saying, right, I'm in his first 11. Unless there's an injury thing or something like that, I would say, right, that's my first 11. It sets the standard for the team at home. It sets the standard for the players. It sets the standard for the squad. The guys who are not in that first lineup,
So you're going to go Pickford,
Pickford, I would
Reece
probably,
James,
yeah, I would go.
Gahey, Stones,
Yes, yeah, I'd probably go with those.
Nico O'Reilly
Nick
fullback.
O'Reilly on the left, and then across the middle, you've got obviously Declan Rice, Anderson, Saka. I don't know. Gordon, probably over Rashford. I'd probably go with Gordon.
Bellingham.
Say again?
Bellingham.
Bellingham, I would have him off of Kane. He's the 10.
So you wouldn't have Rodgers in the starting.
I probably wouldn't. I think
Okay.
I'd go that. Would you have any changes to that? Who would be your lineup?
Well, I think I'd go back four would be the same. I think Bellingham is an 8 rather than a 10. So I would actually play Anderson holding with Rice and Bellingham either side, and then Gordon left-sided. I wouldn't play Rodgers. To agree with you, I played Kane central, and Saka right would be my.
So yours would be 4-3-3.
4-3-3 exactly.
Looking at the quality of Paris Saint-Germain when they were able to move their midfield around completely, almost. I mean, all of them. The 4 was the 6.
Interchangeable.
Interchangeable, incredible, and that was their biggest strength. Whereas I think England have much more. They're much more set in their ways. I'm a holding midfield player. I'm staying here.
Yeah. And that's my concern a little bit, is that Tuchel sees people as not being interchangeable, hence my earlier point about Bellingham and Rodgers. Does he see one for one, or can he play the two of them together? Which I hope he has that flexibility.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I haven't really looked at I haven't downloaded my wall chart yet, or got my kickoffs sort of worked out, but there are some strange kickoff times. I think Arteta made the point about his finishers rather than starters now. You do need that squad.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
the game is going to be 98 minutes, and
with extra time and something.
With extra time and that, there's a lot of that, particularly deeper into the competition. So you do need to have fit, strong people. But I just think, for me, as I say, the only thing is that sprinkle of, not stardust, that left field, which it's a great squad, it's a solid squad, it should go a long way, but having that player that can just make something happen, I think is probably not there. Yeah.
That wraps up today's discussion. Hit subscribe so you never miss a goal, and join us next time for a review of the tournament so far.